It's about time you listen to the Shenmue AM2 podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Shenmue AM2 podcast. We're your hosts, Andrew
and Matt.
And we are going to do a review of Streets of Rage 4. Another Saga property that Matt and I are both pretty passionate about. We were both incredibly hyped when it got announced. And we're going to tell you our thoughts on it.
This is episode 69. Should it be our last episode? Should we leave it at 69? You'll have to wait and see if another episode comes out.
There will be more episodes. There's Shenmue 3 DLC that you need to buy. So yeah, Streets of Rage 4 came out. I don't even know what day it was released.
It was a glorious day.
It was. I was super excited. Just kind of my background on Shenmue or Streets of Rage. When my mom bought me my Sega Genesis for Christmas one year, and I told the story, but she told me that she bought me a Sega Genesis for Christmas months before Christmas. But it came with Ren and Stimpy, and then she bought me 2 other games. And like, my mom wasn't into video games, didn't know anything about video games, and she knocked it out of the park with Streets of Rage 2 and Rocket Knight Adventures.
Nice.
Yeah. So I had Streets of Rage 2 as my first Genesis game, and then...
Was this the Genesis before it was bundled with Sonic 2? Or was...
No, it was when they had the core system, so it didn't come with... Like, the Ren and Stimpy game that came with it, I think, was like Kmart or whoever made their own bundle.
Okay.
But, so I had Streets of Rage 2 from the day I got my Genesis, and my cousin Brian and I, he lived upstairs, we would play it nonstop. Then I got the Sega 6-pack, which had Streets of Rage 1 on it, which was a downgraded version, but we still had a ton of fun with it. I never owned Streets of Rage 3 on the Genesis. I did play it through some emulation, and my sister's boyfriend, he was a big video game collector at the time, he had it, and I didn't really enjoy it as much. The music in Streets of Rage 2 is phenomenal, all that. What's your background on it?
I never owned any of them, I don't think, but I did rent 3 more than once, I think, from Blockbuster or something. I was fine with 3, except for the music. Yeah, it wasn't as good, but I thought the gameplay was improved in nearly every way. Like, side-scrolling beat-em-up games, like, I tend to like them better as they iterate. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, Final Fight 1's the best Final Fight. And I'm like, no, it's boring compared to Final Fight 3. Like, you can do so much more, and it's the same way with Streets of Rage. Like, the more you can do, the more I like it. Like, the more varied the gameplay. It doesn't get old as fast to me. Anyways, but I definitely agree the music in Streets of Rage 3 is not as good. But yeah, I love being able to run and stuff like that, have access to new attacks.
Music in the original 3, I would go 2, 1, and then 3.
Same, yeah. Go ahead.
On the topic of Final Fight, I never had a Super Nintendo as a kid. When the Virtual Console was really big on the Nintendo Wii, I downloaded Final Fight for the Super Nintendo. I've played it multiple times, and I cannot get into it for the life of me.
Did you only play the first one?
Yes.
2 and 3 I find are better, especially
they probably are.
But you probably won't find many people who agree with me on that. Just because, I don't know, it's just the classic status, I don't know.
So, Streets of Rage 4 gets announced.
Oh, sorry, I was going to go with you said your Genesis story, I was going to go with mine. I also got a Genesis for Christmas, and I also knew I was getting it months beforehand. But for me, it was because I snooped. I asked for a Genesis from the Sears catalog or something, from the Wish Book.
Okay, if you didn't correct yourself the Wish Book, then I was totally correcting you the Wish Book.
It came with Sonic 2, and I just remember that Christmas was the longest Christmas, just because I would literally sit under the Christmas tree with the Wish Book and just stare at the picture of the ad for the Genesis, and just imagine the fun I was going to have. And then I was like, and I had been talking about it all the time, obviously, and then I started snooping and found it, and then that was a month or 2 before Christmas, And then, so yeah, that just made the wait harder. And then on the day, I opened all of my presents, and there was no Genesis. And I was like, what the? And then they played it up. They were like, well, did everybody get what they wanted this year and stuff? And I'm like, I guess I better act sad. So I had to act sad, and then I had to act surprised when they pulled it out, like, from their room or whatever. But I did fool them. I told them many, many years later that I had snooped, and they were like, oh, we didn't know. But that was a good Christmas, one of the best Christmases.
Question for you about receiving a Genesis as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I think people or kids that received a Genesis or had a Genesis compared to kids that have a Super Nintendo, kids that grew up as Sega kids tend to have a better appreciation for the more niche games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just because Sega, like, I didn't really have console loyalty because the next console I got was a Nintendo 64, and then
Same.
It was all over the map from there forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like kids that grew up as Sega kids were used to having that.
We're used to being
B title, not like the AAA games.
We're used to being trodden upon. We're used to taking the jabs from the Super Nintendo.
It's like being a Maple Leafs fan. Shots fired. You haven't won a cup since 1967, losers. And you don't have 24 like the Habs. I digress. So Streets Rage 4 gets announced. This is awesome. But I immediately ran into the same problem that I had before. Streets Rage 2, I was a Max guy. I love Max.
Mm-hmm.
No Max. Mm-hmm. Streets Rage 1, when I got that, I was a Max guy. No Max.
You mean Adam?
No, I was a Max guy.
You said Streets of Rage 1.
Yeah, so I was a Max guy because I had Streets Rage 2 first.
Okay.
So I'm used to playing as Max.
Oh, right.
So I get Streets Rage 1, no Max.
Yeah.
Got to play as Adam.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Then when I finally started playing Streets Rage 3 on like Saga compilations and stuff, I'm a Max guy, but I can be an Adam guy if I need to be.
Neither.
Mm-hmm. So I see this and I'm like, okay, I have to be a Floyd guy.
And 4?
In 4.
So in the old games, yeah, I think we've talked about this a few times, but your cousin was always Axel.
Yes.
And you refused to play as women, so you wouldn't be Blaze.
I wanted to... No, that's not true. I wanted to play as Max. It had nothing to do with the fact that Blaze was female.
But she's in all 3 games. That would have solved your problem.
I know. But I'm a tank character.
Yeah. There isn't really...
In real life,
there isn't really a tank in 3.
Dr. Zahn.
You call him a tank?
Yeah, he's the tankiest of them all.
Yeah. Well, I guess just visually he's not. He's a twig.
Yeah.
But... but yeah, so in 4 you thought you were going to like Floyd.
Turns out I don't like Floyd. But then the retro announcement happened.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh man, the cherry on the sundae.
You get your Max.
I get my Max. So when you first...
He's all pixely. And nobody makes fun of him for it in the game. Max, you're looking kind of weird there.
So when I first started playing it, I played as Floyd till I could be Adam, and then I was like, Adam. I'm picking Adam.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed
you have to
it.
unlock Adam.
You have to unlock Adam
time.
At level 4 or something.
Mm.
It's weird because he's the main character in the game, but you just don't get him to level 4.
And it's only for that first playthrough where you don't have him.
After that you have him.
Yeah.
Who did you play?
I started with Blaze, and then as soon as Adam came in, I also went Adam. But I tried... Usually I don't like the tank character. I don't like the big hulking dudes. But I did try Floyd later, and I like him. I love his Batman Returns Super Nintendo double slam, grab slam move. And I like his stretchy arm. He can use it a few ways with the special move that sucks your health, but also like forward attack. He does like a double fist stretch. And that's really good for those shield guys.
One thing, like when I first saw him, I'm like, okay, they're literally just combining Max and Dr. Zahn.
That's
literally what it is.
And what's his face from Moana?
Now, what do you think overall of the game?
I love it.
Same here. I absolutely enjoy it to the max. Pardon the pun.
They They really, they. I don't know if it feels exactly like the other games, but that's fine. And whatever they did, it feels good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I originally was a little set back by the art style. Mm-hmm. Don't care.
The art style's odd. I like the art style, but sometimes it looks a little bit too sketchy. It's like you should have refined that drawing a little bit more, but I still like it overall.
Yeah. Just this popped into my mind. Make a comic zone of that, please.
This team make a comic zone? That'd be a really good idea. Yeah.
So overall, like, gameplay.
Is it because I said the name sketch or the word sketch?
Yes, literally, subliminally put that in my mind. I love the gameplay. I have a couple little. Every critique I have of this is minor, other than one.
Okay, what's the big one?
You cannot slide with a weapon in this.
Oh.
And that, I cannot get past it.
In Streets of Rage 3, if you were running and you did a weapon attack, or you were running and you had a weapon in your hand and you did an attack, you'd get a unique attack, wouldn't you?
I think so, yeah. But in Shenmue 2, or Streets of Rage 2, if to get through faster level, to get to the next part, you just, sliding was, especially as Max, was the fastest way to do it. And if you had a pipe or a bat or whatever, just keep going.
Did you try to beat times or something?
No, not by any means. But it's one thing that, again, kind of like when we talk about our Shenmue stuff, I've been doing for 20-some years, if not longer, and it's different now. Mm-hmm. Other than that, there's a few little inconsistencies, like how weapons, especially the girls that throw the little jars of poison stuff, inconsistencies as to when they do hurt bad guys and when they don't. But other than that,
I think some of the enemies have like super armor, like at times where it feels like they shouldn't, or they have too much super armor or something. I think they updated it. I think they nerfed enemy super armor a little bit, but yeah, there's a few little gameplay niggles that I had issues with, but for the most part, it's really fun.
And that's I think the big thing for me. It's fun. Like, I couldn't wait to play it. I played it enough to unlock everyone. And then I couldn't wait to play it with my cousin Brian. I brought my Switch over to his house and we played it, and
just like old times.
It was just like old times.
You were perfectly in sync.
We were perfectly in sync. He was Joey Fatone, I was Lance Bass. We were in sync.
But I do like the gameplay changes in that, like, it's more, like, you can play it like you used to play the old games, and it works fine. But if you want to get more into, like, a combo and a juggle system and stuff, you can do that, too, and make some really impressive strings of attacks and be very creative with how you play.
You can, and the fact that when you have a combo going, there's a little bit of a leeway time before that goes away. So it's kind of being, depending on most levels, you want to end your combo at the right side of the screen. So there's strategy elements to it. The part, like going through the single player, when you get to the part where, spoiler, you fight Max, like, I have goosebumps talking about it. I'm just like, oh shit. Like, I was so into it. I'm like, why is Max bad? Like, what happened?
Can I unlock him?
Turns out you can't yet.
Not yet. We're hoping for that
DLC. Fingers crossed, DLC. But yeah, the fact that you have a range of all the characters to play as, too. Like, all of them from 1, all of them from 2, all of them from 3.
Nope.
Except for Rue.
That's so strange. Why would they leave out one character?
And the little throwbacks, like at the end of the bar level, when Rue's there where Barbin was, but he's still washing the glass the exact same.
Yeah.
And just there's so many little nods.
Little secrets, like the arcade games that you have to hit with the taser in order to unlock a retro boss kind of thing.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I haven't played it 4-player yet.
I think that'd be too hectic.
Matt and I did play 3-player.
Was that too hectic, you think? It was on the line of being too hectic?
No.
It's just me.
It was just Matt. Brian and I had played this, we can play Streets of Rage 2 and not get a single friendly fire shot from start to finish. Throw Matt into that equation.
I'm a spanner.
He's when the Joker's handing Two-Face the gun. Inject a little chaos.
Yep.
Matt loves throwing weapons.
I get a throwable weapon. I want to throw it. It's the only time you can attack from range.
Yeah, but you don't need to attack from range. So, like, what would happen is, like, I would be holding a guy or punching a guy. Matt throws something. By the time he gets to my side of the screen, the guy's dead. In front of me, the guy is dead.
You've either killed him or he moved on his own, and he made way for the knife to come in and stab you.
Yes. It was, the chemistry just wasn't there yet for us.
That was we've only played through together once.
Yeah.
And I think on 2 players.
Well, no, we didn't play through together. You died. I was the only person that beat the game.
I died at the last boss.
I was the only person that beat the game. I like the boss fights. Mm-hmm. There's nothing I really don't like about it. I like that there's an elevator level. Yeah. I like that when you're fighting on top of the train, that level's very short.
Mm-hmm. So you don't have to continue jumping over those.
Oh, yeah, I fucking hate that part. And I'm sure you
it's Battletoads-esque.
Yeah, but like I like that there's varying lengths of levels. Mm-hmm.
Some people I heard say the game was too long. I'm fine with the
length. A commitment to play it. Like, you do need to put aside like 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
But I like, there's no levels that are, when I play through it, I'm like, this level doesn't need to be here. Like, everything feels good. I really enjoyed it. I want DLC for it.
Me too.
I want essentially all the characters that I can't be. So I want Rue. Mm-hmm. I want Max.
Mm-hmm. Estelle.
Yeah, Estelle, the female cop. I think she would be great.
Shiva? Can you unlock Shiva? Like the new Shiva?
You cannot unlock the new Shiva, no.
So yeah, he'd be good.
Yeah. Streets of Rage 2 Shiva would be interesting too.
He was never playable.
But it would be a cool unlockable. I do like that they give you options for controls too. Mm-hmm. Because one thing about the original Streets of Rage games is if you were punching someone but you ended up standing on top of a weapon, you would not punch them. You would just keep picking up the weapon or cycling through. If you had a weapon, you would just cycle between the weapons. Mm-hmm. There is a dedicated weapon button on the default controls,
which you don't use, do you?
Which I can't do. I my brain, again, after so long, my fingers, it could not make my thumb go there. So you use
legacy controls.
I use the legacy controls, and I love it.
I'm fine with the new ones. I like not getting messed up by accidentally picking something up. What do you think of the game's system of like the super moves that take your health away, but it's kind of green health that you can recover as long as you don't take damage?
I didn't really notice that was a thing until you and I were playing it with Brian.
Oh, really?
You
never use those moves?
I do occasionally, but I never. I noticed that the health was different, but I didn't know what it meant or how to work with it.
I guess I probably recognized it earlier because I'm a fighting game fan, like we've said before, and that's a thing in fighting games where you can kind of get like lose health, but it'll still come back as long as you don't get hit again. Like some games will do that when you're guarding or something. You'll lose a bit of health, but it'll come back. I like that system because I always hated any beat 'em up where I had a move available to me, but it would hurt me to use it. I hate that so much. Just give me a special move that's just harder to pull off, like with button inputs, like a fighting game, like back, forward button or something.
See, I like the idea of if you use a certain move, it risks health, because it puts you in a situation where there's a risk reward.
But I mean, you usually only use it in a situation where you're going to lose health anyways, because you're like, I'm surrounded, use my get off me move.
But so I lose. You put yourself into a situation to get surrounded.
Yeah, but there's no reason to use that move unless you're surrounded, like the big moves.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the way I look at them. Is I'm in a bad situation. I have an option to get out, but there's a cost associated with it. Now, like in
I just look at it as either way I'll lose health. So what's the difference?
Well, the difference is the bad guys are dead in one of them. I like how in Streets of Rage 2, like say for example Max, if you hit the special button and you're not moving, he does like the spin thing, like spins his arms in a circle, and that only causes health if you actually hit someone. And then the other one where you like do the roll forward costs you health no matter what.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether or not you hit one. I like the options of just being able to change the food in it.
Yeah, it's a like cool Easter egg. Like my brother's vegan. You can get entirely vegan health pickups. tofu and salad.
I love pizza, and I'm Canadian, so for ours was pizza and poutine.
Yep. Poutine's funny that's in there.
Yeah. There's different modes. I think some of the graphics in it are absolutely amazing when you get to the castle and there's a stained glass window of Mr. X sitting in his chair. And the stained glass is the light's coming through and it's on the floor, but if you walk through it, it reflects on your body.
Yeah.
Like, it's the fact that stuff like that is implemented in this game just blows my mind.
What do you think of we didn't talk about the other new character, Cherry Hunter?
Didn't play as her. Haven't played with anyone that's played as her.
Oh, really?
Couldn't care less if she existed.
Really? You should give her a shot.
No, I think her character kind of seems too weird. Now I realize I just asked for a boxing kangaroo to be in this game, but
she plays the most different for sure. Like, she's like a skate kind of character who plays differently than everybody. Like, she's got way more mobility than everybody. Like, she can bounce on people's heads and run and do all sorts of weird stuff. Her combo potential is off the charts. Like, she can juggle people for a long time, but she's weak to counteract it. But
there are
so she's just too complicated for you to bother with?
No, I don't have any interest in the actual character. Not because she's a woman.
You sure?
Yes.
You sure? All the evidence points to you not liking women.
What else was I going to say? The combo system is neat because there are situations where you can get infinite combos. Like if there's a pipe left and you're at the level with the wrecking ball, you can just keep hitting the wrecking ball back and forth.
Yeah.
To get an infinite combo. There's how to unlock your trophy.
What do you
butt plug that says it's going to France?
The what?
The giant purple butt plug that says it's going to France.
I don't
in
know.
the background of the museum.
It's going to France?
Just a sec here, hold on.
What?
It was funny, me and my friend Adrian...
You're gonna Google butt plug now?
No. Me and my friend Adrian sent each other the message at the same time. He was the guy that was gonna be our fourth there for...
we should still do that, try 4 players.
Absolutely.
I promise I won't stab you anymore.
That's a blatant lie.
I won't pick up any more knives.
That's, again, a blatant lie.
Well, it's just because I was playing as Blaze, and she's the only one who has special attacks with knives, so I had to pick up the knives. That's something I do like that they continued through the old games, is Blaze is like a blade expert.
What is your Wi-Fi password? Never mind. Anyways, we sent a message. There's a thing in there where there's a massive, huge purple butt plug, and it says to Paris.
I assume it's not an actual butt plug.
No, it is.
What?
It's a massive statue of a butt plug.
What?
Google image this.
No, I don't want to...
Search Streets of Rage butt plug.
Okay, incognito window. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's a giant chess piece, and we just can't see the top of it.
You can see the top of it. It's a butt plug. Yeah, that's a little...
So what about it?
I just like the fact that it's in there. I think is ridiculous.
Yeah.
In the sewers, the little throwback to Shinobi in there.
I didn't notice that one. Is Spider-Man in there?
No. It's graffiti on a pipe. And then, like, in the back, like, there's a background whole level in that sewer thing where you can see, like, people fighting in the background. And, like, the level where you fight Estelle under the bridge.
Yeah, the big
stuff going on.
Giant battle going on.
And you can turn those off if you find them distracting. You can turn the background stuff off. The retro soundtrack is great. I wish it was kind of more just retro stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of some weird remixes and just generic bit tunes, chip tunes. But yeah, that was an odd choice. I wish it was just they like specifically curated old songs for every level.
Yeah,
which they did for a few of the levels. But what do you think of the redesigns of the main characters that we were familiar with? Adam, Axel, and Blaze.
Axel looks fat.
I think it's just his jacket.
It's just the jacket, though.
It changes his silhouette. Yeah.
It does. I don't like the suspenders on Adam.
I love him.
I think it's weird.
I think he looks classy as fuck.
But yeah, I like overall. I don't have any
shades are awesome.
I love the glasses.
Yeah.
I don't really have any qualms with any of them.
Blaze looks like Blaze.
Yeah.
I like how they aged them all up though.
They did a good job of that.
It's hard to come across in animated form, but I think it comes across. especially for Axel.
Yeah, he looks like a dirtbag. He looks haggard.
Yeah,
he looks like he's seen better days.
Yeah.
I love being able to fight the retro stuff. I like the weapons for the most part. Overall, I think they did a really good job.
Success.
Yes. Now let's
more of these.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. More of this. Like Saggy, you're sitting on a fucking gold mine of stuff.
Streets of Rage 5, but also other Sega properties.
Nice side-scrolling beat 'em up
Golden
version
Axe.
of Golden Axe. Yeah. A new, 2D
Altered
Shinobi.
Beast.
No.
They could make it better.
Welcome to your dome.
It's not going to be that anymore. Like, this could be
power up.
Power up. This could just be, you take the name, it's a known quantity, but you completely change it. Like, don't try to homage the gameplay of the old ones, Completely modernize it. I think they could do something fun.
Yeah, Saga, make a new Jet Grind radio. Someone else is doing that for you.
Hooray. What's the name of that game? So people can Google it?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't look on my phone.
Something Punk?
No, it's something Funk.
Funk.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it looks good. So, comparing Streets of Rage 4 to Shenmue 3. Both old Sega properties that one Sega decided... Well, I guess at the end of the day, Sega did decide to do something with both of these.
Yeah.
They made a decision to let someone do something with Shenmue 3, and they decided that finally blow the dust off the Streets of Rage franchise.
I wonder if Streets of Rage 4 was this developer coming to Sega with a proposal, with a pitch, or if it was Sega being like, hey, let's bring back Streets of Rage 4 and shop around for somebody to do it.
I think it was Sega presenting it because
they've been pitched Streets of Rage 4 many times, I think, in the past by other studios.
I think if whoever the CEO of Sega is right now, he walks out of their office in wherever it is in California, there's someone standing outside the door. Just like, hey man, Streets of Rage 4, bud. Like, you can do the skateboard thing. And, like, Californians, man. You take a left down Don Redondo and then Rodeo. Saturday Night Live reference there? No.
Don't know it.
Anyways, I think from what Adam Korlick was hinting at, that Sega knows they need to revive some properties and are looking to do so. But overall, I had more fun with Streets of Rage 4
than Shenmue 3.
Than Shenmue 3.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The anticipation was the same for both, I think.
Really?
Obviously, when Streets of Rage 4 got announced, I didn't have a reaction like I did when Shenmue 3 got announced.
It's not as much of a long shot.
No, and that's the thing.
Even though it's been away for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's even if they mess up a 2D side-scroller, I don't think they can mess it up that bad. Not implying that Shenmue 3 was messed up, but there's a lot more opportunity for Shenmue 3 to improve.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Streets of Rage 4 walks up, comes out of retirement, and hits an absolute dinger out of the park.
Did it take longer for Streets of Rage 4 from 3 to 4 than it did for Shenmue 2 to 3? It must have. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was the 90s, yeah.
Well, yeah. Considering Streets of Rage 3 came out before Shenmue.
Yeah, right. That's the only thing.
Came out after Shenmue 3. In the last episode, I didn't understand how time worked. Now it's Matt.
But yeah, there was a longer wait, but it didn't seem... It never felt impossible there would be another Streets of Rage game, like it did for Shenmue.
I think...
Because it's just a 2D side-scroller. They could do that whenever they want.
But they didn't.
They didn't.
Now.
They didn't, but I was never under the impression that they never would again.
Did you ever play the fan-made Streets of Rage 4 back in the day?
No.
It was an actual very good, very, very good fan homebrew, whatever you want to call it. But... The other thing is Shenmue 3, we had Shenmue 1 on the Dreamcast, Shenmue 2 on the Dreamcast in Europe and Japan, and canceled in North America, but we got it on the Xbox. And then there was nothing. There was no re-releases. There was supposed to be, Shenmue Online, and Shenmue 3 was coming, blah, 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 but none of that came to fruition for the longest time.
Yeah.
We got kind of not consistent, but we get a lot of re-releases of Streets of Rage games. Sega loves putting out compilations non-stop. And it was kind of, if they did announce a compilation and didn't have Streets of Rage, you're like, well, that's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
But we kind of got...
It was a constant constant presence throughout all generations of consoles. You could always play Streets of Rage.
Yeah, like I have Streets of Rage on the Dreamcast. I have Streets of Rage on the PS3.
Probably PS2 as well.
Streets of Rage on the PS4. On the PS2,
Genesis Collection, like that came out on Dreamcast, but did something like that come out?
the Smash Pack. It was on the
Smash
Smash Pack on Dreamcast. It wasn't on the. I don't think it was on the PS2. And then we got it might. Yeah, no, I think it was.
It was on the Wii Virtual Console, I'm sure.
Yeah. I have. That's where I played the majority of my Streets of Rage 3 was on that. Man, I miss those days. The Virtual Console Mondays website. Just what's coming out this week? But even like their first 2 Streets of Rages, or maybe all 3, got those 3D releases on the 3DS.
Right.
Like it was a constant, and it was just like, just make a new one, and they did, and my fuck, is it good? It's like, what would you give it out of 10?
9.5.
Same here. Like it's a 9. The only thing is if you could slide with pipe, and if I could play as a modern Max, that makes it a 10 for me.
Yeah. A few more mobility options that we lost from Streets of Rage 3, I'd like back.
Like the roll
up and down and give everybody a run. And
Now, you
change Blaze's voice. she sounds too high pitched.
And the pipe. We need the original
pipe sound. Yeah.
Yeah, Huber mentioned that in his review, and sometimes when people review video games, and then especially if you read the review before you play it, and it's in your mind for you to, like, you're going to see or encounter that at some point in time, and the minute I first swung a pipe and hit someone, I'm like, yep.
That was unsatisfying.
I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
And I miss that, like, sound. It's the impact is gone there. Yeah. But again, those are all minor gripes that don't keep me out of it. Like the shoe sound in Shenmue 1 and 2 HD. Have you beat those yet, Matthew?
Nope.
You bastard.
But I feel good knowing that it's there if I want to play it.
So Streets of Rage 4, I want Streets of Rage 5.
Yep.
Which would you rather have? If you could have one tomorrow, would you want Streets of Rage 5 or Shenmue 4? Based on what you know now.
Streets of Rage. Okay. I'm sorry, Shenmue. Time to change the name of our podcast.
I want more Streets of Rage. It's been great. And I do think recreating a 2D game compared to a 3D game is substantially easier.
It is a little bit like comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah. The 2D games don't have any problem aging. If you put, like, I have 65-inch TV in my basement. If I play Streets of Rage 2 on that, the pixels are just bigger. That's it. There's no early 3D games. If I pop GoldenEye on that, not going to look the greatest.
Bad textures, bad draw distance, bad frame rate.
Yeah, it's those things, those issues don't exist, so it's kind of a head start out of the gate, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I really want more Streets of Rage. And I hope there's... Even the DLC characters, like, I would just love to play through as the new Max. Something as simple as that will...
They haven't said that's going to happen.
They haven't ruled out DLC.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those situations where, like, if there's enough demand, well...
I think there has been, and I think by now we would have heard about it if it was going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
We'll see. They did some balancing patches and stuff like that. Like, they sped up Axel's walk and a couple other little just technical things. But, I overall absolutely impressed. Want more. Feed me more.
Yeah.
Give me more. So you can find us on the social medias. We're at we're at Streets of Rage 4 at Shenmue AM2 Pod on Twitter, youtube.com/Shenmue AM2 Podcast. We're on iTunes, all that, wherever you get your podcasts. If there's anywhere where you get a podcast and we're not, let us know. We want to hear your thoughts on Streets of Rage 4 if you liked it. Your thoughts on Shenmue 3, compare the two maybe. And we'd like to thank our sponsor this week, Pine Pot.
Pine Pot?
Yeah, it's the store in the background of Streets of Rage. I don't know what it is. It's just called Pine Pot.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do we think they sell?
Pine Sol?
I would think potted pine trees.
Maybe. I don't know.
That you have to transfer into the ground pretty quickly.
There is a pine pot in the Streets of Rage 4, too.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Giant Purple Dildos.
It's a butt plug.
Butt plugs.
Why is our sponsor Giant Purple Dildo?
just because.
We're gonna end this here. It's getting weird. Yeah.
Okay, bye.